Hello and welcome to the D3 Energy live stream. I am Greg Davis, founder of D3 Energy, and thanks for coming back and being a part of this ongoing series of videos where I talk about oil and gas in the United States, the oil and gas industry, and the resurgence of conventional oil and gas production. So I want to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and I hope will be near and dear to your heart. And why does it matter, all this talk about oil and gas and energy independence, and what does it mean? So America today is on the cusp of energy independence. And in fact, America is close to energy dominance. And what does that mean? That means America is about to become a net exporter of oil and gas to the world market. Oil and gas and energy. So today, as opposed to just 30 to 40 years ago, when America thought we were running out of oil and gas and we were beholden to foreign countries, to brutal dictators, to OPEC, who used to hold a stick over our heads, we now have so much energy in the form of oil and natural gas, and yes, electric power, wind power, and solar, to the point where America is virtually a net energy exporter. Now, why do we care? So let me take you back. For those of you who are not as old as I am, if you will, back to when I first started in the oil and gas business, and when I got to watch my father really start growing his oil and gas business. This is back in the 1970s and early 1980s. So back in 1973, America was producing a lot of oil and gas. And oil prices were around $7 a barrel to $10 a barrel. And then what happened was America threw its support behind Israel. Israel got into a conflict with one of the Arab nations in what's known as the Yom Kippur War. And because of that, OPEC, which controlled a majority of the oil and gas reserves in the world, got pissed off and said, no more oil. Now, what that kicked off was huge shortages of oil and gas for people's cars in the United States. There were lines around the block. It was essentially a war with OPEC, with the Arab OPEC nations, over our support for our ally Israel. And what it resulted in was a price spike at the fuel pump, shortages, panic. There were cars lined down the streets, and America was basically hamstrung, put into a box. We were beholden to a foreign country. Why? Because we depended on so much of their oil supplies. And so what happened? The American oil and gas industry went into gear and started drilling and drilling. And I remember my father at the time, who was becoming one of the biggest drillers in the United States. He's such a patriotic man. I mean, I remember him at the dinner table or at holidays or events. He would always give us advice, his friends' advice. When he'd give a speech, he'd always say, you know, honor your family, honor your wife, honor your children, honor your religion, but most of all, honor your country. And for him, it was about finding more oil and gas to fuel America. We needed more oil and gas. And what it kicked off was this huge revolution in drilling. And at the time, during the mid-70s on into the early 80s, it kicked off a huge drilling boom and lots of technological advancements at the time. And I just remember, it was a time it was all about America and our industry was booming. Well, OPEC also got upset with us because we were still beholden. We were still importing so much oil from them. In 1979, we had the revolution in Iran. And what did that do? That kicked off another oil embargo. Once again, America was bowing down to the OPEC oil ministers. And fear and panic and worry and the price of oil escalated and went, in 73 from $7 a barrel all the way up to $38 a barrel. I know we talk about oil being over 100 in the modern days, but back then it was like a 4 to 5-fold increase, and the price of the pump was going up, and it spurred, a lot of concern and the development of solar power, but we were beholden to a foreign nation. So, if you weren't alive then, you wouldn't know much about this, but it was a real problem. Now, let's fast forward to today. And where are we today? And why do we care about American energy independence? And why is it I am talking about American hydrocarbon dominance? Because today, America is this close to being a net exporter, as I said, of energy. And particularly, we are now exporting oil, refined oil products. And we're now starting to export natural gas through these LNG facilities where we liquefy natural gas and put it onto ships and send it around the world. And what does it mean? It means America now has the power, has the strength, has the bargaining chip to go out onto the world stage. It allows our president to go out and say no to bad economic deals. And we're not going to cower down and bow down to foreign corrupt nations and powers that want to control us. We're not going to do that anymore. It allows America to be a powerhouse again. And so we're exporting oil and natural gas. And we have countries like Poland and France and England and Germany who've been beholden to Russian gasoline, who now see us starting to export our vast resources of natural gas, and they're saying bring it on because it brings them energy stability. So we have the power now. We have the resources now to really dictate our future. And no more are we going to be told what to do. No more do we need to cower down and bow down. Now, what does energy independence mean? It doesn't mean that America cuts itself off from trade with the world. It doesn't mean that we won't import products. It doesn't mean that we're just going to produce our own oil and gas and keep it and not trade. No, we can use it to trade and build a better world economy and improve our position in the world economy and our trade deficits. It means that we have better trading partners, we can export more products, we can trade on a more balanced playing field, and we can supply countries, our allies, with oil and gas and other forms of energy to help them to be stable, to not then be beholden, to the rule of some corrupt dictator. So, what I'm going to do over the next week is I am going to continue with these posts, and I'm also going to post some written articles online and I'm going to put a little commentary around that. And this will be in the vein of American energy dominance, hydrocarbon dominance, as I'd like to say. And I'm going to post some articles about some of the historical events that took place, the oil shocks, the oil embargoes in 73 and 79, and some of the wars that were fought over oil that we got involved in and other countries got involved in. And thank God, America survived those wars and got through those wars. And so I'll post some historical articles. I'll post some current articles about the vast resources that we have here in the United States and where they're being tapped. And I'll post some articles about America's energy independence and America becoming this net exporter. So be on the lookout for that. I'm passionate about oil and gas and America's hydrocarbon influence in the world. We have vast resources, enough for the next 100 years, that'll allow us to develop other technologies and allow for a more balanced portfolio of oil and gas and energy resources, battery power, electricity, solar, wind, and other forces and other forms of energy. But I will be posting about these developments and about American energy dominance, American energy independence. So be on the lookout and come back next time and we'll continue the discussion. I appreciate you coming today. Please share with your friends, all your industry friends, non-industry friends, whoever you know, get them to like and share, because America is essentially energy independent. And a step further, America is energy dominant and hydrocarbon dominant, and it's happening, and we are going to together bring this revolution about and this paradigm shift. Thank you very much.